Good morning. Let's talk health with Kay. As you can see, I'm outdoors. I'm actually going for a run at one of my favorite spots. Normally, I made a goal to try to run before my daughter goes to school, which is at, whatever. But lately I haven't, because I'm just not used to waking up that early. But I did wake up early, however, got some work done, and now I'm gonna go running. And it kind of sucks because I forgot my watch, but I'm gonna go ahead. I think my phone kind of keeps track of the distance and stuff. But yeah, I guess one of the things I kind of want to talk about when I come back is boundaries, because I've been hearing a lot, it seems, about boundaries, and I think that is so huge. And I think boundaries is really important for mental health and things, because without it, you're just gonna be like a freeway, cars just going in and out. What I mean is, you're not gonna be really thinking about yourself. You're just doing things whether you want to or not, and most of the times you don't want to, and you end up getting resentful and stuff. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and start my run. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Oh my goodness. I will say, first of all, before I go into my topic about boundaries, I'm gonna, I guess, talk about my run a little bit. It was pretty good. I will say the weather, oh my God, the weather has been very phenomenal. I would say at the least. It's been very phenomenal. It's been, according to my car, it's 69 degrees. It's cloudy, and I've been enjoying it. I will say, unfortunately I didn't have my watch, so it didn't keep count of the, the time and the distance. But according to, I guess, my estimates or whatnot, I would say I believe I did run a 5K. I would say I estimated that I ran between 40 minutes and 43 minutes of the 5K. So that's pretty good. I would say that I ran a lot of the hill. I guess that last turn, after that last turn. So that was pretty good. And I haven't forgotten this week. I am definitely going to look into 5Ks, and I will let you know a 5K that I'm going to run. And if anybody's in Albuquerque that listen to me or whatever, or by the time they subscribe to me, by the time that, I sign up for the 5K and haven't ran it yet, just look for me. Hey, I watch your YouTube content and so on and so forth. But yeah, overall it was a good run. I wish I can give you more, details about it, like something in my eye or on my glasses or whatever, but I will let you know. But as far as boundaries are very important. And I'm gonna just give a disclaimer. My YouTube account is directed at everybody, anybody, man, woman, child, unless I say, hey, children, bye-bye, you'll need to listen to this. But other than that, but mainly when I say children, I'm talking about preteens on way up, but yeah, so it's for anybody, black or white. But however, when it comes to boundaries, I think every community, black, white, Spanish, Latino, Latina, Asian, whatever, I feel like the biggest thing that's really hurting our communities, and I would say I'm a black person, and of course I know a lot about my community. I'm pretty much almost the expert at my community. We definitely do not practice boundaries. I would say, in my opinion, growing up as a kid, any kid, it seemed like parents don't really teach their kids boundaries. And also, we look at other families or associates or whoever, family, friends, co-workers, whatever, that we see that boundaries are not even talked about. I would say growing up, I really didn't understand boundaries at all. Boundaries weren't even in my vocabulary, nonetheless, a thought in my mind. And I will say somebody, I think, I'm not going to say somebody, but I feel like I really kind of understood boundaries, I will say, which is kind of sad to be honest, like in my 30s. But I would say by mid 30s, I think, because I think during the time, I think I was kind of going through a breakdown or whatever. I was going through a lot of stress and things of that nature. And I would say during counseling, therapy section, that's when boundaries were taught. And then when I first learned about boundaries, I would say the very first time, it was like a foreign concept. It felt like I was going to be mean. Like, I'm going to be mean saying no to somebody. Like, what? Because I felt like, and what's so sad, like, especially if you grew up religious and things of that nature, I feel like religion wasn't, it's not, they didn't teach boundaries, but I feel like in a sense it was anti-boundaries, because you have to give yourself, you know. You have to, you know, especially I will say when I was growing up in church, it's like boundaries weren't really practiced. I mean, it was like if you wanted to go on vacation, it's like instead of you making that decision, it's like, okay, what does the pastor think? And mind you, I went to a small church. The church really never grew, and I don't think it hasn't even grown, to be honest, to now. But anyways, it was like, what did the pastor think? And you think about all these obligations that technically you don't really have to do. It's not your job or anything like that. But it's like, I can't make a decision to do certain things as far as self-care or vacation or a hobby, anything, you know, without what will the church think. And then also, like, say for example, like in relationships, say if you are married to an abuser, normally, I would say in this scenario, if you're married, you're in an abusive relationship, and I even experienced this type of scenario right after I separated from my ex-husband, that it was like, drop your boundaries, you know, this, that, and the other. It's like, what does, like, how should I put it? It's like, God don't like divorce. God don't like separation of family. So to me, in a sense, if you're getting abused mentally, physically, verbally, financially, it's like, forget about lack of boundaries. That's abuse. And it's like, don't even think about yourself. Don't even think about your well-being. Just continue to let this person abuse you. And to me, that's not right. So that's one of the reasons why I say even church is like, and church is a big part of a person's life, you know. A lot of people's lives, it's a big part of their, you know, their comings, their goings, their ideology, character, so on and so forth. So if you really take church really seriously and it's part of your lifestyle, then it's kind of like, it will, you know, you probably end up staying in a relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or if it's just a platonic friendship, you know, that, you know, you just basically forgetting about your well-being to the point it can even kill you, you know, whether it's because of your health being deteriorated, or the person can end up harming you or doing you in, you know, as far as, you know, you end up passing away. So that's the reason why I say even religion is like a anti-boundaries, because it's not about you, it's not about, okay, here's the red line. These are things that I agree with on this side, you know, on this side that I hold dear to me, and the things that's outside of that, I'm not going to tolerate. It's like I explained before, like right before my run, it's like lack of boundaries is kind of like, living in a home and you have your door open 24/7, you have the windows open, so basically anybody can go in, go out, look in. Some people probably bold enough to go in your house and look in your refrigerator, drink, because in a sense, when I think about it like that, it's kind of like you're giving people permission to basically just make decisions for you. They're making decisions for you. In the house example, in the house example, you can just walk in the house. It's like, whether you want them to or not, walk in the house, go in the kitchen, eat your food that they haven't paid for, whether you want them to or not. More than likely, you probably don't. But this is an example of boundaries. Go in your bathroom, use your restroom. So it's kind of feeling violated. You're feeling resentful. Like, dude, I don't have no choice. And that's, to me, that's kind of what lack of boundaries. You just have no choice. And imagine not having no choice. How would you feel? You will feel resentful. You will feel taken advantage of. You will feel unhappy because you have no choice in how somebody will basically treat you. And when people feel like you can go on, and when people feel like they can overstep your boundaries, it's like it's easier for them to do it, to take advantage. They're like, well, she's not really saying nothing about it. He's not really saying nothing about it. Even whether if they believe in doing it or not for themselves, they might be like, heck no, I ain't gonna allow this person to do this and do this. But at the same time, they feel like they could do it to you because you're not saying anything. And I would say sometimes if you, like, say for a particular person or a group of people, especially your family members, if they feel like they can basically take advantage of you or come to you anytime, whatever, they don't have no respect for your quote unquote boundaries, because you basically don't have any. So when you start putting up those boundaries, a lot of times they will think you, especially if they don't really practice boundaries or anything like that, they be like, well, you're being mean to me. You don't like me. You don't love me. We're family. Why are you going to let me go through this? And what's so funny, what I learned about boundaries is basically telling yourself that I love myself, I respect myself, and I'm not going to let myself be treated any type of way, because you don't have to agree to everything. You only have 24 hours a day, and you only up within a certain number of hours in a day, so it's just, you basically practicing self-love, self-care, showing yourself respect, because and also show people that you not love yourself. Of course you love yourself, but you know yourself. You know what you're not going to tolerate. And it makes it, to me, in a sense, easier for people to, once they get to understand that you have boundaries and stuff, people will know you better to the point they're like, no, she don't tolerate this. No. And in my opinion, it's either people going to respect that and make your life a little bit easier, as far as you probably will say less no's or whatever. And you'll be able to easily think about, okay, I might want to say yes to doing this. I might want to say yes to doing that. But also the people who absolutely do not want to respect your boundaries or anything like that, and they're not even willing to even respect those boundaries in the future, a lot of times it will remove those people. It will be like a way to remove those people out of your life. So I would say that. But one thing, instead of talking about boundaries or whatever, I would say, I guess I give you some tips and whatnot. One, if it's really hard for you to say no, because that's the baby steps, in my opinion, of showing boundaries, you can always say, this is what I always do. Just let me think about it. Let me think about it, okay? And see what I come up with. So I may spend a few minutes a day or whatever, think about it, and then I come up with a good reason. Because sometimes if you don't really have boundaries, a lot of times you just say yes. I'm gonna just say yes, just, you know, like maybe the adrenaline or whatever, like, oh my gosh, he or she asked me something, and next thing you know, oh my God, what I'm gonna do, da, 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 da. You know, I just start practicing. Let me think about it. And then you go to them, no, because such and such. Or I have something to do. That thing could be taking a nap, whatever, you know, it don't have to be. You don't have to even have to be a specific thing. Just, I have to do something. You don't have to go on and explain yourself, this and that, because that's not, you don't have to really give somebody a deep, detailed explanation, because that's, you don't owe them that. In a sense, you do not owe them that. They ask you, you have a right to say yes or no. And also, I would say, if you have particular friends, associates, or family members who always come to you about a certain thing, I would say stop. After this video, stop. And just kind of meditate on that, ponder on that. Probably get a pen or paper or your phone or whatever, and write in your notes that, you know, this is my goal. My goal, for example, is this family member or friend normally asks me to babysit on Saturdays. I will come up with some explanations of why I'm not able to. Or if you know they're getting ready to call you, I will just, like, this might be an advanced step, but you can just be like, you know what, say, even before that time comes, babysitting or whatnot, or can you do this for me? Can you take me to the grocery store? Or can you, I will say, basically, either call them or whatever and say, probably a week prior or whatever, and just let them know, hey, I know normally you ask me to babysit on Saturdays, this and that. I've been babysitting, but right now I want to spend some time for myself, or I want to do this, or I got plans, or whatever, you know, and just let them know that I'm not able to babysit this weekend or next 2 weekends. But if you want me to babysit, please give me a call about a week prior, so that way I can make a sure decision for you for that next time, something like that. And then if they're not even paying you and you feel like you deserve a pay, I'm like, well, I'll love to babysit your child, and you know, I will deserve, you know, since it takes a lot of time out of my schedule from doing this or that or whatever, I appreciate if you pay me $20, so that way I can at least have some money for food to provide for them, yada, yada, yada. So, I mean, that's just an example. But boundaries are very important. I don't care if you're just learning this as a teenager or as a, you know, an adult, or as well up in age. And it's good to teach your kids. Speaking of kids, it's good to teach your kids about boundaries, because sometimes, I would say, especially in my community, I feel like like I mentioned in the beginning, we don't really do a great job teaching kids about boundaries. It's kind of like anti-boundaries. And I guess I know parents, like, leave the door open, this and that and the other. But at the same time, I feel like as a kid, parent-kid dynamic, it's probably, I ain't gonna say it's probably, it is a great time to teach your kids about boundaries in little ways, you know, because it will help you gain trust. It will teach their kid about boundaries, so that way when they, like, for example, peer pressure, they can know that, hey, I have a right to express boundaries, or whether I want to do this or not, instead of just going with it because, hey, my friends are doing it. And also, what's really important is it will help kids protect themselves, as far as, you know, bad touching, you know, whether, you know, I don't care if it's a quote unquote family friend or a relative or whatever, you would, teach those kids that. I mean, sometimes people are like, they're too young, this and that, but it's an age appropriate way to teach kids about those type of boundaries. And like, for example, one of the greatest teachings or lessons or boundaries is, if, for example, a relative want to hug your child, whether they're 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever, onwards, and that child don't want to hug, don't force that child to hug that parent or that, I don't care who it is, a relative, cousin, uncle, aunt, grandparent, just, hey, they don't feel like being a hug. It's not about being rude or whatever. Kids, especially at a very young age, don't really know about rudeness or whatever. You're just teaching them. But at the same time, you never know, because I'm going to say kids are very, they experts in a sense about energies and stuff like that. You might be trying to force that child to hug Chester Mugster, and that child probably already sensed something's a little bit off with Chester the Mugster, if you know what I'm saying. So you just don't need to force that child to do it, especially if they don't know that person. They have to earn, just like you always say as an adult, well, you have to earn my trust. Well, that should go for kids too. And it's just certain. I won't go all into this. This is just a basic I guess topic on boundaries. But I would say if you want to get more into topics of boundaries, teaching kids boundaries or whatever on certain subjects and things, go to the library, find some books, go on TikTok, go on YouTube, and go to experts or whatever about, how to teach my child boundaries, protecting themselves, whether they're at school, a friend's house, a relative's house, and then, go from there. But I don't want this video to be very long. I wanted to go ahead and talk about boundaries. This is my channel. If you watched it, please subscribe, like, share. I'm trying to, grow my content, and I definitely will appreciate it. So, yeah, so I'm playing with my curls. I did a twist out yesterday, and my hair's still kind of in that I guess straight mode. It haven't went into its natural state, but yeah, so just follow me. I'm on TikTok, just call K20, well, just.call.k.2024, which I'm gonna change that to just.call.me.k.2024 within a few days. So, but yeah, just, they're probably gonna have a lot of randomness or whatever, weird things about, Albuquerque, and, probably cat videos, just some random type of things or whatever. And some things that I post on YouTube, I might post, on TikTok. So yeah, I appreciate it. And I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.